Hey guys, welcome back. Robocraft Early Access coverage. This is episode 66. I'm Enigmaus, and today we're building a gunbed. It's an armored core gunbed. I'm surprised that I haven't actually thought to do this before. I've done SMG cruisers, I've done SMG hovers, but for some reason the thought never occurred to me to aim for the specific idea of a gunbed. So that's what we're doing. For those of you who aren't aware, a gunbed is basically a bot that has a lot of redundant guns on it, in this case usually SMGs. I'm not sure if you can make a gunbed out of plasma and have the game recognize it as a gunbed, but with SMGs like we're going to be doing, definitely that's the case. And in order to fit that many SMGs, you usually have to have a bot that's fairly large and wide, and it has to have wheels. That's the other criteria. So it has to be kind of wide and large so you can fit all the guns. They tend to be very robust, just because if you build them smartly with all those guns, you also build a lot of armor onto the bot. So it's difficult to chew through their chassis to get to the driver's seat, and they have such a potent offense, not only with the 6 guns that everyone likes to use, but all the redundant guns that make it very, very difficult to shut down their offense. They're a real threat, and so far I've managed to get this far without actually building one. So we've got 2 regular wheels and 1 steering wheel on each side. I know people have commented in the past, if you put steering on the front and back, it works better. The thing is, all of my RP goes to blocks. Right now, when I buy blocks, I buy tier 10 blocks, and I put them on the Panther Bee, and I take all the blocks that I swapped out for tier 10 blocks, and I build bots like this. So that's why we're using the purple blocks, is because all the black ones are going on the Panther Bee. But as I kept expanding out on this, once we got the wheels on, we got the pallet seat on, I realized I didn't have to do anything crazy. Adjustments extending out from the spine to protect the wheels. I just had to carry on the same pattern outwards. And that's where we got to this whole idea that this is looking a lot like the rolling chassis of a gunbed. You can see now we've got this sort of chevron design, the hallmark of the armor core waffle pattern. And we're just building it out all the way across. And then when we get in behind the tires, we're still going to carry it across as far as we can go. It'll be a little bit shorter, but it's still going to be, the same pattern, duplicated all the way, and then all the way around until we get to the sides, the outer sides of the wheels, and it'll still be the same pattern. It's fantastic. It's probably one of the easiest rolling chassis that I could ever come up with, and it happened entirely by accident. As I was building out from the normal spine design, and said, hey, we don't have to do anything different. We can just keep doing what we've been doing. It took about 20 minutes total, real time, to put this whole thing together. Now, it's obviously very symmetrical. I don't like the idea of asymmetrical wheels. For some reason, I just don't have a lot of faith in them, even though they may work just fine. I prefer them to be all lined up nicely and working properly. It's just my own prejudice. Once we get to adding the guns on, that's when we can go a little bit crazy with the asymmetrical kind of building to make things look a little bit more interesting, because we do have to do some gun mounts to get the guns in the right position so that they're firing over one another instead of into the backs of one another. And if we're lucky, we should end up with a bot that just performs really, really well and is really, really fun, and a nice alternative to Pretty Hate Machine for all of that RP and experience grinding to move up the levels. I hit 83 today, which was kind of nice. But when you're advancing 11 CPU at a time with every level, you have to get 3 or 4 levels before you can really go back to a project that was maxed out for CPU and start adding anything that makes you feel like you accomplished something. So we've got 17 levels to go before we're maxed out, and hopefully we won't need it before we're ready to unleash the Panther Bee on the world. But whatever happens, we want as many bots and services as we can possibly get, so that's what we're doing. I would like to be able to just start out, once Megabots are fully released and we know what's going on with those, and do a Megabot build on day 1, but we're just not going to have the RP for it. We're going to make it a goal. It's definitely going to be one of our priorities. But those things are just so damn expensive. It's, I don't even know. It's basically a toy for people who have been at tier 10 for a long time now, and have just been playing and accumulating RP, but without ever actually spending it on anything. Those are the guys who are going to get the most out of Megabots on day 1. So you can see here now, pretty close to the finished rolling chassis. Just duplicating on the back what we did on the front, carrying it all the way out across this way. simple pattern, repeating the same pattern. And then I noticed that we have a 1 block gap in between the tires, so we're going to build out here as well, and this is going to become another connection point for the armor that we have running along the outside of the tires. And then we'll have another one here, and again, it's just making sure that we've got as many connection points as possible to improve the chances of sections of the armor surviving after something, you know, a direct hit to one of the connection points. It should never cause the bot to basically dissolve. We're not here to make a balloon. We see enough balloons, we have a little bit of a chuckle. And you know, even the best bots get ballooned sometimes, but that's the goal, is not to make one that does that. We want to protect ourselves from that and force the ballooning to happen only if someone gets a really lucky shot, if we're tipped upside down or something because we drove off of a cliff, which we never do except for a lot. So now we've got the front is done, the back is done, the other side is ready with the connections, and I'm just double checking again with the symmetry. And the reason why we're going with the asymmetry is when you're doing an asymmetrical build, you don't have to worry about what's happening on the other side. And now we're in a position where we can just start extending the armor so that it fits around the wheels. But I kind of got the idea that before we do that, we need to take a look at this driver's seat. And again, the whole shape of this, the whole design of this it could be a template for a lot of different kinds of builds, depending on what it is that you want it to do. So I'm kind of taking a closer look at things like, how are we going to protect the driver's seat properly? We've got so many blocks in this spine. Like, the spine is so wide that we can afford to spin some of them around and build off of them these kind of, you know, these little panels that are coming up the sides, and we can spin some more around, and we can do some panels up the front and some panels up the back, and before you know it, the driver's seat is well protected. And then as we're building the guns on, we don't have to worry about it. It's done. It's, you know, if we run out of CPU, if we run out of space with the guns, at least we're not going to have to make adjustments to come at the expense of the pilot seat because it's already been taken care of. And if we can make it look a little snazzy in the process, then that's kind of cool too. But as always, it's function over form, with ideally the whole form thing coming as a result of practice and experience and making things look good without actually meaning to. It was a lucky guess that made it look that way, so that's what we're sticking to. So you can see it doesn't look too bad. It's not complicated. There's nothing about it that requires, you know, a 3-page dissertation and a 25-minute video to explain. But it's functional. It keeps direct damage off the pilot seat, and it's relatively low profile, so that when we get to the placing of the guns, it's not going to be tremendously in the way. We'll obviously have to have, you know, the back area, the guns are going to be elevated anyways, so we don't necessarily mind the pilot seat kind of taking up space. And this is what I mean by just, it's like a little bit of armor skirting around the outside edge. That little bit of plasma splash that would have otherwise popped a tire now is instead going to take out a chunk of the blocks on the outside edge, and you're going to drive away. That's the whole idea, is it's not going to be, you know, this particular section here is not this super mammoth armored segment that is going to cause us to do outrageous things that nobody thought was possible for a gun bed, but it is giving ourselves a little bit of extra protection where we know we're eventually going to need it. And it's not really that expensive in terms of blocks. It's less expensive than electroplates in terms of CPU. We know that much. And that's basically, as soon as we get finished this one little stretch here, that's the rolling chassis done. You see what I mean? It could be used as the basis for a lot of different bots. Next episode, we're going to try and see if we can build this thing with a thruster on it, just to help with a little bit of speed. And then we're going to start building the guns on. We're aiming for 12 SMGs. And then we'll eventually get it into some matches and see how it does against all the crazy cats in tier 10. So if you want to be notified when we add those videos, you can always subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on social media to receive notifications. Links for social media are always in the information section below the video. Please leave your comments and feedback. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.